We're going to start off with a beautiful prayer from Karine, who I've known for many years. She's been a very powerful and valuable member of our Masterful Living community for some years. And I'm so excited to welcome you. Thank you, Karine, for coming and praying with us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure and my privilege and my pleasure and my joy to be here with you and everyone. As I look at the faces here, I am reminded of Christ. And that is the way I'm going to start by breathing, first of all. Let us just put our hands on our heart. That is the place where our true being is found. And as I take this breath of love and gratitude for this moment, for this joining, I remember the Spirit and invite the Spirit that is our breath, that is our life, to be with us and to lead us and to open our hearts even more. We invite the angels and the company of heaven to be around us. We invite the Mother in this season of Advent as we expect the Christ. We invite the Mother and are thankful for her strength and her wisdom as well. Take another breath and just feel the heart expanding into the love of Christ, which is in every single one of us. We ask for a blessing, special blessing on our speaker today, Lola, and our musician, Nick, and of course, our leader, Jennifer, and all those who are helping in the ministry. We're so grateful for each and every one of us gathered here in this moment. We just open our hearts and open our minds to just receive the word and just rejoice together as we celebrate this day. We allow it to be and we share the benefits with everyone, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Karine. Yes. And welcome to Lola and to Nick. Nick, we're glad to have you back again. And Nick's going to give us a song now. You may remember when he gave us a wow experience earlier in the year. And Nick is a longtime Course in Miracles student, Course in Miracles teacher and speaker, as well as a musician, a beautiful light in our Course in Miracles community. We're so blessed to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I can see you all. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
If you think you can't make it, 'cause you struggle too hard, close your eyes and just listen to the song in your heart. And sometimes you feel like you can't make it through, just keep moving, remembering I believe in you. When a prayer seems unanswered, there's a reason behind. Although you may not see it, with some patience you'll find that all of your dreams pretty soon will come on true. remembering I believe in you. Empty roads may seem scary, so then why even try? 'Cause you came here to share those gifts that are deep down inside. So hold on to your vision and don't ever give in. When in doubt, just remember there's a power within that can move any mountains. I know this to be true. So keep moving, remembering I believe in you. Don't get discouraged if a challenge you must face. Always remember, you can always find a way. Believe in your greatness and you'll see what you can do. Keep moving, remembering I believe in you.
Beautiful. Thank you. A Course in Miracles tells us that it's hard to believe that our thought combined with our belief is a power that can literally move mountains. And it's true. Yes. Thank you for that, Nick. Inspiring. And we have a very inspiring speaker here for us. I've known Lola for many years from the Bodhi Center in Chicago. That's where Lola is from, Lola Wright. And she is an ordained minister. And she has served for many years as the CEO of the Bodhi Center in Chicago, and powerful spiritual center. And she has spoken many different places. Her path includes also working with leading financial institutions and technology startups and doing training with folks in that area. She is a powerful coach, and she loves to create events and put together projects that really lift people's hearts and minds. She also is a mother of 4 children, a wife and mother with 4 children. So she has a wide range of experience with folks at all levels. And she is an inspiration. And we're so glad to welcome you here today, Lola.
I am incredibly grateful to be here with all of you. I am a deep appreciator of Jennifer Hadley. And I mean, if you really knew, I basically met her when I was a baby. I mean, I met her like literally 16 years ago. My life was incredibly different than it is today. And I want to give you like a little window into what my life looked like when I met this woman. Gosh, just to get related, because we are living in such unusual times. I do live in the Chicago area. I have 4 kids. They range in age 23 to 8. We have 7 people and 2 little dogs living in our house right now. We have a friend that is staying with us also. And it's been just like an eternal practice to bring our awareness back to the good that we can place our awareness on, give our attention to, because there's lots of seduction in this human experience right now, I think, to get into sort of a trance of separation, if you will. So That's what I'm living in the midst of. 7 humans and 2 little dogs. And every single day, I am reminded of the arc of my life. And I say that because I am very, very clear that there are people who are having devastating experiences inside of the circumstances that we are living in the midst of. And so I say that because I think it's important to acknowledge that. And what's also true for me is that I have lived through far more challenging times than this in my personal life. And I have to remind myself of that so that I don't let my egoic mind get carried away by the drama of what's occurring. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I have lived in a time where I had 2 little kids and it was like, we don't have a lot to work with in the cupboard right here. That is not my current reality. And that is, I just have a lot of gratitude for my capacity to notice what I do have. That was not always available for me. So I want to rewind for a minute. 16 years ago, I was working at Bank of America. I was like this corporate soldier. I was type A, single mom. I had 6 figures of debt, and it wasn't sexy debt, if you know what I mean. We're talking like parking tickets, medical bills, that kind of debt. Nothing strategic going on there. And I remember sitting in my office, and at the time I was doing sessions with Jennifer, and she said, I remember one thing that she said to me, and I have carried it with me for 16 years, and I probably cite it no fewer than 30 times a year. She said, Lola, consciousness always expands. It never contracts. And in the moment, they were such potent words that I like snatched onto them. I didn't even fully know what she meant, but I knew that she was right and I was willing to trust her. So for me, what that has meant is every bit of evolution I experience in my own life and every bit of evolution we experience on the planet is always an expansion. Now, as someone who has birthed 4 babies, I understand the world of contraction. Because in fact, contraction is required to push forward new life. But in the realm of consciousness, nothing ever goes backwards. It's just that life, existence, consciousness is nonlinear. That has stayed with me and it remains with me in this season that we are in, because I think we are in one of these great periods of awakening, one of these great contractions of the expansion of consciousness. We're literally birthing something new in the human experience. And as you all know, as deep practitioners of A Course in Miracles, like when you begin to state that which is true, everything unlike it begins to rise to the surface. So to a large extent, we have to say to ourselves, this is what we asked for. We asked to call forward anything that is unlike the reality that is available in the human experience. And so if we just look, this is just on planet Lola. This is how I perceive reality right now. The last 6 years, let us say, have been this kind of the petulant child of humanity has come forward into center stage, and it's right before us being called to say, how ready and willing am I to transform the petulant child that lives in me? Like in the human experience, what I am noticing is just this perpetual seduction with separation. But the gift is it's up to be transformed. Now, what I believe we, this community of beings, have a responsibility to do is to look at the condition and keep asserting, affirming, commanding, and demanding a higher reality. So, we seemingly have been trained inside of a body of work, a discipline that says turn entirely away from the conditions. That for me is incredibly potent right now. That does not mean deny the despair that we are living in the midst of. That does not mean spiritually bypass the destruction that human beings have the capacity to create. But what it means is stop scrolling to find evidence of the seduction of separation. Like that is literally, there's an aspect of our brain that is literally biologically hardwired to perceive separation. So to practice in the realm of consciousness is to rise beyond the inertia of our biology into the high altar of consciousness, where I say, devil, get ye behind me. Like that, you know, if we take the metaphysics of some of these old references, get ye behind me, get that nonsense out of the way. I am not here for that. Now, sometimes easier said than done, right? But I believe now more than ever, you and I have a grand responsibility to amplify our spiritual practice, because nothing that is occurring occurs in isolation. So when you and, I mean, this is the power of this community, right? It's like you come together, and it's, you know, it's so funny. Every coach in the world now has a mastermind. You've probably been solicited into like 97 masterminds if you're at all active on the interwebs of existence. But oftentimes the thing that can be missing from those groups, which is amplified in this space, is the notion of where two or more are gathered, there I am. I am is your spiritual identity. And what we are lacking, I think, and what we are reconciling in the human experience is our spiritual identity. When our traditional or historic frameworks for religious constructs begin to fall away, right? We're living in a deconstruction. In order for construction to occur, there's always destruction or deconstruction. So we're in a deconstructed reality such that we can have space for the new construction to emerge. So it may be that your traditional community spaces of church have been reconfigured like a powerful center online like this. I mean, Jennifer Hadley was like way ahead of the curve, way ahead of the curve. So what we know is that like attracts like. Here we are, we're in an evolutionary state of consciousness. We have a responsibility to take the potency, the I am presence, the principles and practices that get cultivated, amplified in this space, and not be quiet about them. We have a responsibility to really speak the reality that we desire and that we know to be possible into this quantum field. So I want to, you know, I always trust whenever I'm guided, like I am a student of A Course in Miracles. I am not a teacher of A Course in Miracles. I am a lover of the science of mind. I mean, like Ernest Holmes is my guy, okay? You just heard my Chicago accent, my guy, all right? So I opened up A Course in Miracles as I prepared for today, and I always trust where that book cracks open. And where did it crack open to? It cracked open to chapter 21, Reason and Perception. And I want to bring your awareness to a word called reason, not particularly sexy. You know, it's like reason. You know, what are we in, like a Greek mystery school? Yes, reason. We are in the midst of a season of sobriety, and that's what reason is. There's a sobering. So I would love for you to just in this now moment, take a breath and look at your own life. Like we could do that as a practice together and just say, what is an area of my life that is seeking sobriety, that is seeking reason? And when we say sobriety and reason, we are invoking an awareness out of the seduction of our stories into a higher idea. So what is an area of your life that is seeking sobriety, a recalibration? You can open your eyes when you're ready. It's really tempting for me, I will say, to look at the statistics of the world, a global pandemic, perhaps the most acute political drama in modern history, an economic crisis that has significant implications. And it's easy to get dislocated from reason. It's easy to get dislocated from sobriety. So I'm asking you if you would join me as this kind of continued practice as we move through the birth canal. Like we're in a birth canal right now. And I always bring to my mind the last 3 centimeters of dilation in the birthing process. If you have been a birthing person, or if you have studied the practice of birth, a birthing body dilates for 10 centimeters. The last 3 centimeters of dilation are the most acute, the most intense, the most uncomfortable. Oftentimes the moment where a birthing person says like, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want to do this anymore. It also is the shortest typically. So when we are in our dilation stage, we are in a birthing of new consciousness. We are in a shifting out of the trance of separation into a great awakening. In this chapter of A Course in Miracles, it says we have learned, we need not learn from pain. We don't need to learn from pain. That's what we're waking up out of. We've hit our limit of pain. The threshold is not serving us anymore, and we're ascending into a new state of consciousness. So on in my book, page 450, chapter 21, excuse me, it says, when vision is denied, confusion of cause and effect becomes inevitable. We have a responsibility to invoke vision, first and foremost within ourselves. Where does vision live? It doesn't live in the world of circumstances and conditions. Vision lives in like the secret place of the Most High, the center of my being, where the spirit of life resides. When vision is denied, confusion of cause and effect becomes inevitable. There is a lot of confusion in the human experience right now. And I fundamentally do not believe that we require a majority to push through this birth canal. But I do believe that we need a conscious body of practitioners that keep affirming and knowing that salvation is greater than separation. I am the source of my salvation. That was one of the first affirmations I worked with 16, 17 years ago when I became familiar with Jennifer Hadley and her work. I am the source of my own salvation, the spiritual nature and reality of who I am. That is a radical idea. That is a radical idea that you and I have the great gift to share. You know, like we can be our own evangelizers, not that repel people, but that invite people into a bigger idea of self. So in this chapter, it goes on to say, faith and belief and vision are the means by which the goal of holiness is reached. Faith, belief, and vision. I believe that those are the 3 pain bodies of humanity right now. We have a lack of faith. We don't even know what the heck we believe anymore. And we have outsourced our vision to actors that may or may not be aligned with who we are calling forward within ourselves. We're seduced by the literal. We've lost sight of the mystical. And this is the moment of birth into something new. So I am incredibly encouraged by the season of sobriety. I am incredibly encouraged. I think Dave Chappelle said it best recently. He said, "You all are acting like life before this pandemic was good and comfortable for all folks." So it's not that what we're living in the midst of is something new. The gift of what we're living in the midst of is a sobriety of the dis-ease of our belief in separation. And so we have this great opportunity to transcend the drama of duality, to go beyond the binary, to lose the literal, to ascend into this awakened state. So, you know, to some extent, it's like we're preaching to the choir, right? Because arguably, the odds of someone on this gathering today who's like, I'm not buying it, I think that that's very low. It's probably a high level of alignment. But if nothing is happening separate and outside of us, then how have we too colluded with the reality we're in the midst of? So we don't get to sit over here and say, well, you know, if people would just get on board with this philosophy of oneness, if, you know, people could just really get it with unity consciousness, I mean, you know, we could really just move this whole thing along. And it's like, okay, and how is this trance still living in me? How is this trance still living in me? Where have I resigned myself? Where have I written people off? Where have I allowed resignation to take up occupancy in me? That for me is my area of exercise. And if we're being honest, I don't much like to exercise. I'd much prefer these kind of instant results. I like, you know, McDonald's is popular for a reason. But in my experience, the idea that consciousness does not contract, it only ever expands, is a daily practice that I have to remind myself of. So Jennifer gave me that gift 16 years ago. And then I am perpetually mining the gap of where I have embodied and integrated that in my lived experience, and where am I still understanding it like a concept. This book is exquisitely filled with things that we could only ever be in relationship with as a concept. But what we are living in the midst of is beyond the capacity of the analytical or thinking or academic mind. What we are in the midst of is an integration, an embodiment. So I am encouraged. My work these next I love this time of the year. I really firmly believe in tapping into the collective consciousness of humanity, the season of holy days. What is it that humanity is needing to release, to let go of, to lay down into this, you know, such that we may move into this more ascended state? What is it that I am needing to release, let go of, lay down? And even those of us who I would suspect are most of us, by virtue of our ability to be here today, are living in great states of comfort. That does not mean that we anesthetize our unconscious states. The opportunity is to bring those forward. So I will close I'll close with this. Last night, my husband and I were, you know, we were with the two little kids, 8 and 12. They're very loud. These kids are loud. They're always making noise. Our family is loud. It's just a loud family. I am loud. I mean, you probably got that. And, you know, so the whole group's loud. My husband and I are with these two loud children. We have these two dogs that are also just like, have lots of demands. And I was sitting at the table talking with my husband. The kids have like iPads and all the things going. And I said, honey, it makes perfect sense to me why people have affairs. And he was like, what? And I was like, this is worthy of escapism. And he got his feelings got hurt. He hurt his feelings through my commentary. But can you appreciate my commentary? Like, you know, when you're in the midst of something and you're just like, get me out of here. I cannot with this anymore. And this went on throughout the evening. And he was, I could tell he was like real crunchy about it. And so I kept checking in with him. I'm like, hey, lover, what's going on over there? And he's like, nothing. And I'm like, well, we went from like fluid, free, and fun to like rigid, harsh, and withdrawn. So what's happening? We had many conversations from 8 o'clock last night, and just 1/2 hour before I joined you today, it occurred to me what was happening for me. What was happening for me in that moment? I kept wanting to know what was happening for him. I kept wanting to know what his problem was. If only we could get to the bottom of his problem, then we could have a nice and pleasant rest of the weekend. My God, we're already dealing with these kids. I don't need you also this way, yeah? And then I got it. I have placed the source of my security in his stabilized presence. And he is feeling destabilized by my comic relief. And now I have put myself in a tailspin. This is like my life. I now have more than enough food in my cupboards. I have money in the bank so that I can breathe through this. That is a demonstration for my life. I want you to get that. I celebrate that every day because my life was not always that way. That does not mean that I do not have radical responsibility in looking for the micro ways that I get seduced by separation, by outsourcing my safety, my security, my approval, and my control. So that is where we are. We can look at what all those people out there are doing, or we can continue to turn within and go, where does this live in the micro moments of my life? And so long as I can see it in the micro moments of my life, the opportunity for increased awareness, expansion, and transformation exists. So I love you, Jennifer Hadley. I am so deeply grateful for the influence that you have had on my life. She left me with consciousness always expands, it never contracts. And this I know you've heard many times before. The judger always feels judged. That one is also said in this household all the time. And I know that's from A Course in Miracles. So I bow deeply to you as practitioners of this work. I give great thanks for your willingness to let me join you today. Please hold my family high in this whirlwind of chaos in Chicago. And may we remind one another the truth of what is actually occurring. That consciousness does expand, even when it moves through times of contraction. Many blessings. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lola. Yes. Oh, that's a beautiful breath of fresh air. Thank you so much. And we're going to take it inward here now. So let's take those inspiring words from Lola and the insights and the remembrances that she's given us. And let's literally close our eyes and go within here and take this moment together. And what she said is so resonating with me. It's really where my mind has been. And we are birthing. We know that. We feel that we're birthing this new heaven and the new earth, the golden age of enlightenment. is upon us, and we signed up to be the midwives and the birthers of this. And just like the caterpillar crawls on the earth, eating, consuming, 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 completely self absorbed, maybe that's been our past. You know, what can we get? What can we consume? And focused on our own selves. And then what does that caterpillar do? It builds a cocoon, a chrysalis around itself, and then it liquefies. It completely liquefies within the cocoon. So crazy. But it's such a great example for what we must do, right? We must recognize that our happiness and our magnificence, our glory as the glory of God, comes from us shedding attachments to that former life. Right now it's time for us, and we are literally, with this lockdown, we are in our cocoons, and we get a chance to really look within deeply and see what's most important to us. And as we are emerging from the cocoon and that necessary struggle that goes with it, as we move past that cocooned life and the life is the caterpillar consumer, birthing into our new, true experience of life, allowing our magnificence to really be on display, just like a butterfly, so different from a caterpillar. One of the things that we must shed is really that all those limiting thoughts and beliefs. And one of the most common expressions of the limiting thoughts and beliefs is our complaints. And I remember years ago contemplating giving up complaining and thinking, I couldn't even begin to do that. How would I ever give up complaining? Oh my gosh. I'm not even aware of how much complaining I do. I'd have to become so aware to give up all my complaining. I could never do that. It's too big an ask. No, I can't do that. Well, now I can. Now I can do that. Now I'm willing. And one of the reasons that I'm willing now is I do not think I have to do it perfectly. I'm just dedicating myself to it. I'm dedicating my intention to it. I'm willing to expand my awareness, and complaints are limiting to my awareness. So I can't give myself permission to complain anymore. It's one thing if I accidentally start complaining, I unconsciously start complaining, but then I can remember, I can wake up, I can feel the constriction, and I can go, oh, I started complaining. Okay, I'm going to stop that right now and let me affirm the truth. There is no lack, there is no limitation. And so this is my invitation. It's really from spirit, because I never know what I'm going to say, because I don't know what the speakers are going to say, and they may not know what they're going to say either. So we're bringing you this fresh, delicious word, and the word is about really relinquishing the attachments we have to our right to judge, to criticize, to complain. In the new heaven and the new earth, in the golden age of enlightenment, there is no place for complaining. So as leaders, we must go first and be willing to give up complaining and living in a critical, judging mind. So we don't have to do it perfectly. We just have to be willing. So in this moment, I'm inviting you to think of the situations, the circumstances, maybe the relationships, the places where you have the most complaints. And would you be willing to give up those complaints? I remember years ago when my mom was very ill, I went to visit my parents for a few weeks so that I could drive my mother to radiation treatments 5 days a week. And it was round trip, it was a 3 hour drive. So it was like the whole afternoon. And it was gray days, gray, wintry days up in Maine. Sometimes the drive took much longer if the weather, the snow was on the ground or the roads were icy. Might go from 3 hours to 5 hours. And at the end of the trip, when it was time for me to go back to LA, where I was living then, my mother said to me, I think this is one of the nicest visits we ever had. And I was surprised because we spent so much of the visit driving back and forth to those radiation treatments, sitting in the hospital together, sitting in the car together in those gray, snowy days. But I knew she was so grateful and felt the trip was such an enjoyable time because when I went there, I made a profound and deep commitment to not judge her at all. No complaining, no criticism, no judgments, only love, only kindness, only patience, only compassion. So even though it was one of the in her life, it was, she said, the best visit we'd ever had. Are we willing to give that gift to our loved ones, to the people we say we care so much about? Are we willing to give them that gift of Christ this year? I think we are. I think we are. And so we're gonna listen to a song now from Nick that I know is going to open our hearts to this possibility. And I'm inviting you, while he's singing to us and sharing his heart with us, to imagine the song of your heart, the song of prayer from your heart, enveloping your loved ones with no judgments, no complaints, no criticisms, just patience and kindness, compassion, and generosity of the heart. Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
Whenever I have wondered if God is hiding far away from me, I simply sit and wonder, observing how God is surrounding me. I can feel it all the time, never losing sight of me, just helping me remember who I am. Because God is in the stars above me. God is in the stormy seas. God is each and every mountain. Wherever I look is where God is. If I ever feel lonely, forgetting God is here by my side, and listen. The loving voice of God I have inside. That's how I regain my peace, knowing that wherever I may look, God's standing right in front of me. Because God is in the stars above me. God is in the stormy seas. God is each and every mountain. Wherever I look is where God is. Like a river I am flowing, not concerned with where I'm going, trusting all the way. After being released from fear, I can say this loud and clear: God's the only way. Because God is in the stars above me. God is in the stormy seas. God is each and every mountain. Wherever I look is where God is. Because God is in the stars above me. God is in the stormy seas. God is each and every mountain. Wherever I look is where God is. Because God is in the stars above me. God is in the stormy seas. God is each and every mountain. Wherever I look is where God is. Wherever I look is where God is.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. Yes, beautiful. So now we're going to do the part of the service that is unusual, and it's different than other services do. We in our Masterful Living community, we love the breakouts. We love to give everybody a chance to talk and share and connect, and it's so valuable. And so what we're going to do now is Christine is holding down the fort here. She's our captain of the ship today. And give us a wave there, Christine. There she is. And very valued, important member of our community. And we're going to go into breakouts, small groups. And the thing about in the breakout that I'm going to invite you to share about is, who is it in your world that you can see you could really bless them with this compassionate, loving, patient, kind, heart generous expression, and make a deep commitment to it, like I did with my mom. I mean, it really taught me something. It really taught me. I had such a strong intention, and she felt it. She really noticed it, because I was catching myself in my thoughts, not just what I expressed out loud. I didn't give myself permission to judge silently and complain silently and attack silently. No, I was interrupting that pattern. So it was a gift to me. I was the one to receive the greatest of the gifts, because that put me in a greater flow of love for myself. It made me more receptive to the they're great fit to everyone when we can move into this. And I'm also going to give you a charge, is would you be willing to write yourself a contract about it? So you've got a written contract and commitment about it. Because when we do that, it just anchors that intention so much more. And really, truly, of course, we all know God flows where our attention goes. So let us put our attention on just how loving, how kind, how generous, how patient can we possibly be. So that's the opportunity that we have here to do this today. And so in your small groups, you can share whatever feels pertinent to you on this topic. And if you don't feel like sharing, no big deal, because really, truly, the most important thing is the listening with compassion. That is deeply healing for everyone, for the listener and the one who's being listened to. So you can share or not share as you wish in your group and in your small groups. Just make sure that everybody who would like to share gets a chance to share. And Christine will be putting little time messages in there so you can keep track of time within your small group. It's not a long period of time, but it's enough time for everybody to share who would like to share. All right, so Christine's going to say go, and we're going to see our breakout buttons appear on the screen. You click on your breakout button, and if you don't see your breakout button, if you're on a computer, look on the bottom bar, and you will see breakout there, and you can click there for your breakout room. If you're on a phone, I'm not sure how to help you, same with an iPad. But you should see on the bottom bar there what your breakout room is. And you can also put a note in the chat if you're not able to see it. So I am going to, Elizabeth, do you see your button there? I'm not sure Elizabeth is paying attention, and I am going to just ask maybe that we turn off the cameras of the folks who are not participating in this conversation right now. If you can do that, Christine. And so I'm going to start actually today and see, Nick, do you have anything you'd like to share with us about Lola's message?
I just kind of enjoy observing and watching. So I bless and appreciate her gift, and keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
How about you, Karen J? And Lola, Karen J is a teacher from our community, as is Rosalind, and Karine is a wonderful facilitator. And so let's get Karen J unmuted. There you go.
Lovely. Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. Oh, Lola, that was fabulous. I loved the openness and the presence that you brought to that. You were so there in alignment with what you were sharing. I just loved it. I was beaming all the time. And Jennifer, I was so touched by your mum, your commitment to your mum. That has gone very deep. I'm really with that. And what I'd like to share is the birthing I seem to be going through. You know, I really feel in that last 3 centimeters dilation. I've had an infection in my tooth, and Rosalind, bless you. Thank you for your very supportive comment. That was lovely on Facebook. So 10 days of antibiotics, a homeopathic treatment, lots of inner work, still infection. And the dentist saying, well, it could just go away, or you could go to a private specialist and see if the root canal thing could be redone, or extraction. And I Googled extraction on Friday night, and I went into flat out terror. I literally had to go to my knees with the room spinning, feeling sick, like I was just about to pass out. So calling on Jesus, brother, be with me, brother, be with me. And it did pass a little bit. And so I have been, I've been in quite a process with it all the way through, but this weekend, I have been so riveted to spirit. I'm just called to totally devote this to holy purpose and to awakening. So I'm aware that this pain, thankfully not acute, but very, very much there, this pain, this infection, this not knowing, is not real. And all the bits of me that are recognizing it, registering it, are not real. Do I choose the joy of God or pain? Which way? God and pain do not both exist. God and infection do not both exist. So I have been with spirit, being with spirit, being with Jesus, opening, watching. And I feel like I'm about to be flung into outer space. It's like, it's like I'm really getting what isn't the truth of me in a whole new way, because everything that's registering this isn't real. And I'm hanging in there. And I recognize the gift. I absolutely recognize the gift.
Yeah.
This is an extraordinary awakening time, and this is my particular version of it this weekend. And I am grateful. I am grateful.
Oh, yes. I mean, that's what those things are for. What a journey. How intense is that? My goodness. Yeah, I so appreciate that you are willing to even discuss it. You know, a lot of spiritual teachers would not share that they felt afraid or that they felt worried or concerned or in pain. And I just think that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help anybody. You know, I read, maybe a month or two ago in the course where Jesus said, it is not possible to be in the human experience and be without judgment. And of course, if we had no judgment, we'd have no fear. So, you know, the judgment is whatever it is about possibly extraction. Um, uh, and so, yeah, we get these things triggered so that we can do that laser focused fear removal. Don't have to remove the tooth, just remove the cause of the infection, which has nothing to do with the body. And we know that, and we're so intent on awakening, we keep getting reminded in the ways that will make us go, whoa. I had that with a few years ago with my back. I injured my back in meditation, if you can imagine. Apparently it's a thing that you're sitting straight like that, and you can tweak your back. If you're sitting for long periods of time, day after day, which I was, and I just torqued my back, and I was in absolute excruciating pain, just excruciating pain for quite a while. And on one trip to the chiropractor, the assistant said, the doctor is going to be with you in a little bit. He would like you to watch this video first. So he put me in this room to watch this 10-minute video. And in the 10-minute video, it was all about what happens when your back is permanently damaged, your spine is permanently damaged. And I was like, F-U-C-K. Oh my Lord, what? Oh Lordy. I was like, okay, this is for my good. You know, like, you know, just like, I am not a body, you know. And then I came out of that video and went in to see the doctor. give me this thing about, I'm really sorry to be the one to tell you this. And he never brought it up. He never mentioned it. He examined me, give me an adjustment. And he said, yeah, you're healing nicely. You're going to do fine, just another month or so. And I was like, I wanted to grab him by the throat, shove him against the wall and say, are you kidding me? What was that video? You just scared the bejesus out of me with that video. But he never brought it up. And I was just like, oh boy, another life lesson there, that you think you're happy and you're fine until you realize, oh my God, I have a fear of being incapacitated in my body that I didn't even know about. So these things have to be healed. And I'm sorry for your pain, my sweet friend. It's so good that you can be grateful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rosalind. Lola, by the way, Rosalind is an amazing teacher of the Enneagrams, and which I believe you're a fan of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Kieran J, I was so touched by your transparency on Facebook. It just went really, really deep. I think you have more courage. My Facebook page does not have things on like that. And so I admire you. I wanted to say one thing that before I forget. Before I retired from being a psychotherapist, I had a teacher who was probably maybe 35, 40 years ago, who said something that I remember today. And she was not a spiritual teacher, but she said that when anybody is threatened with losing a part of their body as small as a tooth, I want you to understand that they will have a grief reaction.
Mm.
And I mean, I never forgot it. Nobody can tell me anything about their bodies. And now, of course, I take it to the spiritual place. And Nick, your beautiful, soothing voice, having us look at what's inside and what's outside. And one of my favorite teachings, because it relates to the Enneagram as well as A Course in Miracles, and really every spiritual teaching, is that we are hypnotized. We're hypnotized thinking we're separate. We're hypnotized thinking we're our personalities or our bodies. But Lola, you brought up another aspect of it, which is the seduction of being and staying hypnotized. And Jennifer, you brought up the attachment. So there's a seduction and there's an attachment. So as I'm sitting here today, the hypnosis wasn't new, but that seduction word was new, to put it with hypnosis. And so I asked myself, what's so seductive about being in the trance of separation, for example? And then it comes up because Jennifer's been talking a lot in her teachings about unworthiness and the connection of unworthiness and separation. And I went, oh, okay. When I'm in the trance of separation, I don't have to feel the unworthiness because it's kind of a cover. I can also try to be better than and be disconnected from the comments I might make to my husband. Why is he having such a hard time? Love that. It had nothing to do with me. And also, when you're better than, then you're not in unworthiness. And so it's just a dream, but it's so seductive. So what breaks me out of the dream is the spending more and more time in truth, where it almost calls me back to my vision, to my home, which is consciousness, which is not separation, which is life, which is God, which is truth. And it's so much more grounding. Think of the word trance. It's up in the air. But I love the birthing. The birthing is real. It's life. A baby comes out, it hurts, you're being contracted, and they're being born to the world. And which world are they being born to depends on whether we stay in trance or whether we go to our vision. So I thank everybody today for a reminding of where do I want to abide? And those glimpses of abiding in home, wherever we claim our home to be, add up. They add up and they pull us back, just like the trance does, just like the seduction does, because it feels so good. And it's sexier than the trance of separation. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rosalind. Um, Lola, do you have anything more you'd like to say?
You know, the thing that's just coming to me is that it's not a surprise that I got clarity on the gift of the discord between my husband and me a half hour before I joined you. You know, because what was I doing a half hour before I joined you? I was getting into this sort of still small voice within me. And it's like, I was reading A Course in Miracles, like, let me be present, let me be fully available, let me be here. Oh, that's what was happening between the two of us, you know? So I love that, Rosalind. Just that's right. Like, I know that to be true. When I am in a funky spot, when I am forgetting the truth of who I am, my greatest go-to hack is let me immerse myself in some kind of truth text, song, whatever. It's a shift move for me. So yeah, I'm just really appreciating the opportunity to gather with like-minded people. And, you know, we all bring our own like nuance and flavor to this. Rosalind, I really, really enjoyed how you put that together, like the trance and the seduction and the personality and the hypnosis, like, yes. And if it wasn't already obvious, Rosalind, I'm an Enneagram 8.
I got that. Thank you for confirming.
Yeah. Yeah. So fun to be with you all.
Yeah, and when you were sharing too, Rosalind, I was thinking of in the movie The Matrix. I can't remember the character's name, but the one who wants to stay in the Matrix because he just wants to be able to eat a steak, maybe be a rock star, things like that. That's the hypnosis, right? That yeah, it's do we want that hypnosis or do we want our true reality? And I think any spiritual student who's going for the true reality has times when we look at the hypnosis. It, yeah, it's not what I'm choosing. It's not what I really want. But sometimes it's nice to have a vacation from your own mind. It is. Karine, any final thoughts? Oh, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but would you like to share anything?
Um, well, I'm just very grateful because I'm not someone who just like naturally just comes out and does things. And I doubt a lot. I used to anyway, I'm less and less doubtful now. But I was given a prayer this morning that to do at the end. And it's almost like, you know, yesterday it came again this morning and I wrote it down and wasn't sure. But when she started talking, Lola, I was like, oh my God, it's like my heart was coming up and it's like, thank you, Spirit, for confirming my prayer. Because yeah, I'm in the process of also, yeah, that transformation and discernment and receiving. And last week I got very clearly from the mother that I'm to allow myself to feel the full range of emotions, especially all the forms of love. So that message I really received. And even though in the last 2, 3 days before today, I was like sinus headache and stuff that I have not had for years since I worked with Jennifer because I thought it was all healed completely. It came back around again and I'm like, oh, okay, it's just coming up to be released. So I let it be, and I realize, okay, I can be in pain, but I don't have to suffer. And thank you, Jennifer, for that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Karine. Yes. All right. So how was the breakout? How was the breakout? Was the breakout good? Yeah. Did you make some decisions, some commitments? Yes. Anybody going to write a contract with yourself about your loved ones? And yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, let's inspire each other. All right. So just so you know, we're going to have another song from Nick in just a minute. And then we're going to have another prayer from Karine. And what I would like to do right now is just take a moment to make some announcements. And the first announcement is that Power of Love Ministry, which is now 7 years old, we're just celebrating our 7th year, going into our 8th year now. We're a nonprofit organization, so your donations are extremely helpful. Your donations help us to pay our staff. Takes every member of our staff to put on these Sunday services, from the web pages to the graphics to all the different components of it. We've got GJ on staff here working behind the scenes today, helping us. And it also, we like to be able to tithe to our speakers and our musicians. And so your donations make that possible. Also, donations make possible all the free prayer and the free classes and the podcast and all of these different things that we produce. It all takes money to produce the transcripts, all the many different things that we offer for free, all the videos at YouTube, everything. And so your donations are a huge support to that. We couldn't do it without your donations. So thank you to those who are regular donators and tithers. If you would like to make a donation, we'll put the link in the chat. And also, one of the easiest ways to do it is to sign up for our text messages. You can sign up for our daily inspirational text messages for as little as $1 one time. You can give a larger donation. You can also make a monthly recurring donation. But you can do all those things even if you don't want the text messages. So those options are available to you. Also would like to tell you that I recently did a free workshop called Worthiness Workshop. You can get that free. The download is free and available to you right now. We'll put that link in the chat as well. And my year-long Masterful Living course. Registration is open now, and we've got bonuses, some nice bonuses, and the closer we get to the start of the class, the more the bonuses expire. So if you'd like to get in on those bonuses, I encourage you to register now. Some really nice bonuses. And that's it. I think in terms of the announcements, I could spend a lot of time telling you all the things that we're doing, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And then I'd like to see if Lola has any announcements, if people would like to do some counseling with Lola or whatever Lola's got going on there. Would you tell us about that, Lola?
Sure. I'd love for you to check out my podcast. It's called Find Your Fierce and Loving. And it's really about integrating the idea that fierce and loving are polarities. They're really one and the same. You're here to be a fierce and loving presence on the planet. So I'd love for you to check that out. I do have a virtual retreat happening over New Year's, and it's 4 hours in person and lots of self-guided and directed practice. It's called the Set on Fire Retreat, and I can drop the link in the chat. And I have a membership community, but you have an incredible membership community here. So you should stick with your membership community here. And just thank you for the opportunity. But I would love to have you as listeners of my podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. And you know, Lola, one of the things for me is I feel that one of my missions in life is to help people find their teacher. Their teacher may not be me or someone in this community. So I don't believe in competition. There's no competition in God because we're all one with each other. So how could that be? So thank you. And Nick, how about you? Do you have any announcements for us before you give us a song?
No, just my website, nickarandes.com, and then there you can find everything. There's the music side and the more I don't know, deeper side. They're the same. And I'm recording the next album, so I'll be putting a lot of that stuff up there, so people like that stuff.
Wonderful. Well, please do give us another tune.
Okay, well, this one is in Spanish now because I figure there's no language to love, and it's called Love Rock and Roll. So it's in Spanish. You can see the YouTube version and everything fully recorded, but this one I'm just going to. So it goes like this. Estoy enamorado de la vida porque soy feliz. Por donde quiera que camino yo me siento a gusto. Y algunos dicen que estoy loco por estar pensando así, pero a mí poco me interesa porque ya yo descubrí lo que es amor. Lo que es amor. Lo que es amor. Lo que es amor. Yo me la pasaría bailando todo el día sin parar. Invitaría a los vecinos a venir a disfrutar, pero vendría la policía a mandarnos a callar porque no saben todavía lo que inspira nuestra fiesta es el amor. Solo el amor, solo el amor, solo el amor. Yo sé que ahora tengo una vida llena de felicidad y simplemente lo que quiero es compartir mi amor y nada más. Hay mucha gente que posiblemente no van a entender que esta manera de vivir es para los que puedan ver que aunque no todo sea bonito hay mucho que agradecer. Todo se llena de alegría cuando sienten el poder que da el amor. Y del amor. Que del amor, que del amor. Yo sé que ahora tengo una vida llena de felicidad y simplemente lo que tengo es compartir mi amor y nada más. Te doy mi amor, 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 te doy mi amor. Te doy mi amor, te doy mi amor, te doy mi amor, te doy mi amor, te doy mi amor. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Nick. All right. We are golden.
Oh, by the way, does anybody know the name of the song and the artist? You know, when we were before you started the service, there was this beautiful song, you know, just right before you started the service. Anybody, if anybody knows, can you write it down or send
Well,
it?
I for sure know. I can tell you. It's called My Soul Sings Out.
Okay, good.
And the artist is a woman who passed away some years ago, and her name is Susan J. Paul. Susan J. Paul. And My Soul Sings Out. And Jennifer Ruth Russell has a version of it too. Jennifer Ruth Russell, actually, for many people in this community know her music. She actually sings backing vocals on Susan's original there. And I just, it's such a beautiful song. It is so heart opening. Yeah, it is magnificent.
And the last is Susan what?
Her middle initial is J,
Uh-huh.
and her last name is Paul.
Okay, perfect. I just wrote it down here to make sure I look for it.
Yeah, you can definitely find it easily at YouTube. And she had a few CDs out, and yeah, she died at a very young age, but you can find her at YouTube a little bit too.
Okay, I'll look for it.
Yeah, tremendous talent. All right. Thank so much, Lola. Thank you so much for being here, sharing your light with us. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, GJ. Thank you, Sean, all the people at Power of Love Ministry. And thank you, Kareen. Yes, if you'll give us that closing prayer.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Our Father, Mother God, hallowed be thy name, Abba. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our belief in separation and specialness, as we forgive all those who seem to be separated and different than us. By your Holy Spirit, Lord, deliver us from our illusions of separation. Unite us and keep us in the awareness of your unconditional love for us all, now and always. Thank you for this precious time of communion in your presence. And may we share the benefits of the gifts we have received here today with everyone, because we are one. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Beautiful prayer. Thank you, everybody. See you soon. Mwah.